And we are live yet again. This is Anmol Garg and Joseph Das from Sales 5X. Three must read sales books. Guys, reading should be a continuous process. And if you really want to take your game to the next level, you've got to constantly read, update yourself, see what is new into the market, and upgrade your skills. That's the only way to survive in today's world. What do you think, JD?
Yes, Anmol. In fact, I think you were just talking today in the afternoon that you should know the PMT.
Right.
Summarize that for us.
PMT is your product, your market, and your trends.
Okay.
Right. Very, very crucial if you want to do well in your sales career.
Excellent.
Today we're going to talk about the three books. The first book being
my favorite in personal human relationships. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I finished 2 reads of that book, and there are around 9 key points.
Right.
If you want to build relationship not only with your customer, but if you want to build, true and meaningful relationship with anyone for that matter.
Right.
And remember, your customers are strangers who later on will become your customers. Of all those points, let me trickle down one important point which actually hit me right. And that point is, empathize and view the situation or the problem from the customer's standpoint. When you do that, you'll actually understand why the customer is doing what he's doing, what is the customer going through, and how can you solve this problem. Don't think about your sales targets. Don't think about how you can sell him the product or the solution. Only think about his world, his problems, his solutions, and his capabilities. If you do that, I would suggest that 80% of your battle is won. So the biggest learning for me was empathize with your customer. That's it.
Absolutely. So this book was written keeping in mind human relationships. So he was not talking about sales.
Yeah.
This was more about how do you connect with people, and as the title says, win a friend. And sales is all about making new friends, and that's where even though the book doesn't shout out sales, so to speak, it is one of the best books on sales because that's what sales is. End of the day, you've got to build that relationship first, and this book teaches you exactly how to go about doing it. I was fortunate enough to read this book in college, JD.
Okay.
This was a good 10 years back. I remember I bunked one class. I believe that was a chemistry class, and that's because I started off with this book and it was so interesting. I just didn't want to go back on the 4th floor.
Superb.
Our library was on the 2nd floor, and I continued to read that till the lunch break. And one point I still take this with me every time is when you meet people, listen to their story instead of telling yours.
Okay.
Right? Because people want to be heard, people want to be listened to. You might not want to solve their problem, but as long as you're hearing them, 50% of the problem is solved.
Yeah.
Right? So the book was emphasizing about if you really want to win a friend, you meet someone new, just ask them about them.
So do you mean, people don't want to buy today? People want to be heard. That's your point.
Yeah, if they are heard, it will eventually move into sales, right?
Yeah,
Sales will be a byproduct.
True.
Right? So if you are going out there for a party or any social gathering, right? When you meet someone, talk to them, find out more about them, right? Even in networking, like let's say I meet JD at an event. I may be in a hurry to tell about what I do. JD, I do this is our office, and this is the great work that we do, thinking that JD will be impressed by what I've just said. Instead of that, if I let JD speak for a good 2 minutes, okay, let's say I have 2 minutes, 15 seconds, I'll let him talk for 2 minutes, and then 15 seconds, I just casually mention about me. Later, when I have to connect with JD again, he would remember, this is the guy who asked me this question, and we had a conversation because we were talking about you.
Yeah.
We were talking, so he will remember me, and that's the irony. People think that
for me, I am important.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You don't care about me, right? If we are meeting, so most people think that if I, have a solid impression, I make that perfect sales pitch for 2.5 minutes,
right,
he will remember me. No, he's gonna remember you if you held him, made him feel special in whatever limited time that you had.
Great.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, that's a great book. If you've not read it, trust me, post this video, order one from Amazon or from whichever source. A lot of people should be having the physical book as well. Go and read it. Trust me, it can be a game changer.
It's worth your time.
Absolutely,
Worth your
both
time.
personal and professional relationship. Okay, that's book number one. Book number two is Spin Selling.
Wow.
My personal favorite in sales. There's this amazing guy called Neil Rackham. He calls himself as the sales scientist, not so much of a sales guy, because he's done analysis of over 10,000 sales pitches in his career.
Wow.
He runs an agency, where he actually goes along with sales guys during the pitches and he just analyzes them.
Correct.
Right. And when I read this book, trust me, I finished it in one sitting.
Lovely.
Okay, I finished it in one sitting, and then both of us read it in our office, religiously.
Yeah.
We've made notes. This book is all about investigating needs, right? Understanding what is the real need the customer has. Now, investigating needs might look simple when you say, you just got to ask some questions and then you know what the customer wants. Typically open-ended questions is what people encourage you to ask, but no, he goes a lot more deeper. He goes into 4 types of questions. One is a situation question. That's how the SPIN word acronym is coined. Second is the problem questions. Third is implication questions. Fourth is need payoff questions. Now,
Correct.
When I first heard of it, I'm like, aren't we complicating too many things out here? Because why do we have 4 types of questions now? But when you go deeper, trust me, this book is going to give you some amazing insights, especially if you're in B2B sales. If you are in B2B sales, high ticket sales, luxury item sales, you've got to read this book because it can just change the way you look at sales fundamentally. JD, we ourselves apply SPIN methodology in our trainings, in the way we ourselves pitch. So for us, it's been a great learning experience.
True, Anmol. As very rightly it is said, telling is not selling.
Right.
Here you apply the questioning technique.
Right.
To elicit the real problem or the real situational, whatever it is, whether it's a situation, whether it is a problem the customer is facing, and what are the implications of the problem, and then you help him visualize all these things in his mind.
Right.
Customer will not go for the purchase unless and until he visualizes, what is the problem and what is the solution to it.
Right.
And the book has magnificently, it's a deep study. It's coming from study.
Research.
And it is research, and it is very clearly mentioned. I think one read, not enough.
Yeah, we've gone back to this.
3 times if I read, I will take few points, and we are trying our best to apply that in our own business. And if you want to lead, you need to read. That's
Absolutely.
all.
I love that line. If you need to lead, you need to read.
That's it.
I'm thinking of the other quote that we often talk about. If you want to earn more, you've got to learn more.
And it is not a cliche, Anmol, by the way. You've got to apply that in the real world.
True.
And then you can see, your life changing. That's how it is. But most of the time, what happens, people want, instant gratification. They don't want but you see the end game and you try. Sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Moving to book number 3. This is called Challenge Your Sales. This is one of the recent books that has come out. I believe this is 2014 or 2015. It's written by Matthew Dixon and Adam.
Okay.
Right, look it up on the internet. This book talks about how the world of sales has changed.
True.
So he brings in a concept called, there are 5 types of sales people. There is, the hard worker, the lone wolf, the relationship builder, the reactive problem solver, and the challenger salesperson. Now, so they did a lot of research. Again, this book is also backed by a lot of research. In fact, Neil Rackham writes a foreword for this book. And he recommends that, this is the new area, this is the new research which has been done on sales. He talks about, that when they interviewed all these 5 different types of salespeople, and then they studied their close rates, they found that surprisingly, it's not the relationship builder which was closing most sales, right? Though that's what they thought, that's what they thought going forward. This is what they're going to find. What they found was the challenger salesperson is the one who's the real closer. What's the difference? Well, a relationship builder is someone, who's going to talk to a client, be nice to that person, and, make sure that he's always available on calls, is always trying to answer all the questions which the client has. He's always the good guy, okay? And the client likes him because he's the good guy. That's because of which they have a very good relationship which is going on. But the challenger salesperson is someone who gives insights to the client which the client has not thought of before, right? He understands the client's business a lot better than the client himself, right? And that's where the research goes into really understanding that industry and giving insights. Let me give you a simple example. Sometime back, this is what happened to us. We were looking at bringing the cost per lead down for Facebook, and I approached this guy. He used to run a social media agency back then, and I kept telling him, I want to reduce the cost per lead. It's this amount. If you reduce it by 20%, we would be game for doing a contract. And then in about 20 minutes, that's the only word I was using: cost per lead, bring it down. And this guy just suddenly told me, hey, how does the cost per lead matter if the ROI on the lead is say 5x? So if I'm spending $30 and if I'm getting like $100 from it, do you think it matters? I said no. If you're saying if I spend $100 and I'm getting 500 back, do you think it matters? I said no. And that's when he said, look, you're chasing the wrong metric. It's not the cost per lead. It's how much are you getting from that lead, right? And then they're like, hey, whoa, that was a light bulb go up, JD. And I was like, hey, I never thought of that before. That is an insight.
That's an insight.
That is an insight, right? And then when there's so much of competition out there and everyone's saying, hey, I can bring the cost per lead to this, I can bring the cost per lead. Here's a guy who's saying, look, forget cost per lead. Let's talk about how much are you making from those leads.
Absolutely.
Right? And that was a game changer for me. No prizes for guessing that. We did work with him, and some really good insights I got. And that's a challenger salesperson for you. Now, because he gave me that insight, we have a relationship going on. The relationship is a virtue of the insight he's added, not because he was very good with me. In fact, he was challenging my wisdom, right? And it kind of unsettled me. He made me think in a very different direction. So when a challenger salesperson, he creates, creative tension. That's one thing. A relationship builder is always trying to diffuse tension. You look at the wordplay there. A relationship builder is always trying to diffuse tension. This guy is always trying to create constructive tension, right? This is not bad tension. It's constructive tension. And because of that, the relationship is built. So another very, very interesting book backed by research, science. These are actual numbers. These people have actually studied a lot of sales transactions, B2B space, B2C as well. It's taken them years to come up with these findings. So guys, do pick up this book as well. It's called The Challenger Sales. It's written by Matthew Dixon. You can look up on the author. And trust me, if you read these 3 books, we spoke about how to win friends, influence people, spin selling, and the challenger sales. It'll take about, if you can read these books in the next 21 days, right? I know.
Put a challenge to them.
Yeah, the challenge is read this in 21 days.
Yeah.
This is 7 days, one book.
Yeah.
It's possible. If you can move to audio format, trust me, you can be done with it much faster as well.
True.
The challenger sales has a lot of diagrams, so you might not want to miss out on the diagrams.
Correct.
Anyways, 21 days is the challenge, and then is the 90-day challenge. The 90-day challenge is to implement what you learned in those 21 days. So I'm throwing you a good 111-day challenge. 21 days to read, 90 days to implement. If you do that, trust me, guys, you will go to the next level when it comes to sales, the way you close deals, the way you even approach customers, and you will see those results.
Yeah, sure. I mean, even if you pick 50%
right.
of what's there in the book,
right,
and then apply those techniques,
right,
you'll only get better.
Right.
And remember, it's all about, applying what you have learned. If you don't apply, then you got no reason to, improve, or you got no reason to, you cannot justify. Right. You have to apply that in front of the customer. And let me also, give you a caveat here that you may fail. Customer may respond differently to different situation, but don't lose hope. Go back again, do your homework, understand where you're going right or what you're doing wrong. Apply those, and I'm sure that over a period of time, you'll be the best seller ever.
Absolutely. So, guys, another thing is you could discuss about these books with us. My number's there on our website. Go pick it up. Give me a call. We'd love to have a discussion with you on these 3 books. And, we're always open for a constructive discussion. All right. We're going to end this video. Thank you so much for joining. Subscribe to this channel. We go live every day, 6 p.m., every weekday with some awesome content. So subscribe to this channel. Follow us on LinkedIn. Sales 5X is the page name. Follow us on Facebook as well. We've created a new group called Learn Sales on Facebook. This is a Facebook group, not a page. It's called Learn Sales. And the idea again is to add massive value to you guys every single day, so that bit by bit, over the course of the next 6-9 months, you will be a very different person when it comes to sales. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. This is Anmol Garg.
Signing off. This is Joseph with you, signing off.
Have a great evening.